You're worn out, not from the usual grind of life or work, but from caring too much about things that don't even give you a second thought. Here's something important. The moment you stop trying to force peace into your life through control, you'll find it waiting for you in the quiet of your mind. Maybe you've spent nights tossing and turning over someone else's opinion, replayed a conversation endlessly in your head, or let words that didn't truly matter weigh you down. If that sounds familiar, this message is for you. What if the real reason for your unhappiness is because you're giving your energy to things that don't deserve it? Today, we're going to uncover a truth so uncomfortable, many avoid it their whole lives. You've probably gotten used to a low hum of chaos, overthinking, overextending yourself, over-explaining. But what if I told you that the freedom you're seeking lies on the other side of simply letting go? Stay with me here. If there's one thing I want you to take away from this video, let it be this. Your peace begins the moment you stop seeking validation from the world around you. And there's an extra insight waiting for you at the end, one that could change everything. 1. Why you react to everything. Picture your mind as a mirror. When it's clear, it reflects reality without distortion. But when you allow a comment, an offhand glance, or someone else's opinion to cloud that mirror, you stop seeing things as they truly are. Instead, you start seeing them through the lens of hurt and frustration. Buddhism teaches us a profound lesson. You won't be punished by your anger, you will be punished with your anger. It's not the world that's causing your pain, it's your attachment to how you believe the world should behave. The tighter you grip onto that illusion, the deeper the pain runs. So ask yourself, why does everything require a reaction? Why does a comment from someone you barely know or like echo louder in your mind than your own inner voice? The reality is, you don't react because the world is cruel. You react because inside, there's a belief that things should be different. You believe the world should be kinder, quieter, more fair. But that expectation is a trap. Every time someone challenges your views, criticizes you, or misinterprets your intentions, your mind enters into conflict, not with them, but with yourself. What you're really defending is your ego's need to be right, to be accepted, to be safe. Here's the shift. What if you could pause before reacting? What if you could create a moment of space between the trigger and your response? That 1 second, that breath, that's where peace is born. Mindfulness isn't about being passive, it's a powerful choice. It's saying, I see the fire, but I don't need to burn. In Buddhism, this pause is sacred. The mirror doesn't fight the smudge. It waits for clarity to return. You must ask yourself, what belief am I defending right now? Is it the need to be liked? The fear of being disrespected? The urge to explain yourself to everyone? When you start tracing the root of your reactions, you'll see that the storm isn't out there. It's within you. So, next time you feel triggered, don't react right away. Just sit with the feeling. Let it rise and fall, but don't grab onto it. Don't let it define you. The less you care about seeking validation from everyone, the more you'll come to understand your true self. Detach, not because you don't feel, but because you want to feel better. Don't waste your energy bleeding for people who wouldn't even offer you a bandage. Free your mind from the weight of every careless comment. Remember this, not everything deserves your attention, and not every moment needs your energy. The less you react, the more you reflect. And the less you try to prove something to the world, the more peace you'll build within yourself. At the end of the day, it's not about who said what. It's about whether your mirror remained clear. You don't need to control the world. You just need to master the space between stimulus and response. That's where true freedom lives. 2. The invisible traps that control you. You may think you're free, but take a closer look. Your mind might still be a puppet, unknowingly pulled by invisible strings. Strings of fear, the need for approval, the desire for control. These strings guide you subtly, constantly, until you forget what true peace feels like. Buddhism doesn't teach us to escape the world. It teaches us to break free from our illusions about it. As the Buddha once said, it's not the chains on your feet that hold you, but the ones around your mind. These mental chains don't shout, they whisper. They hide behind the guise of responsibility, perfectionism, ambition. But underneath it all, they're driven by one fear, the fear of not being enough. You check your phone, not because you're truly interested, but because you fear missing out. You agree to things you don't want to do, just to avoid disappointing someone. You perform, you post, you pretend, not out of joy, but to feel valid. How often do you make choices simply because you're responding to invisible strings? Here's the uncomfortable truth. Most suffering doesn't come from the events themselves. It comes from the meaning you attach to them. You weren't hurt because someone ignored you. You were hurt because you expected attention. You weren't overwhelmed by your workload. It was the pressure you placed on yourself to prove your worth through it. That's the trap, and it keeps you trapped in a loop until exhaustion becomes your normal. But what if you could identify these traps? What if you could point to a thought and say, "This is my approval trap," or "This is my overthinking loop"? Just recognizing them takes away their power, because once you see the strings, you can choose to cut them. Minimalism isn't only about owning less, it's about caring less about the things that don't truly matter. Emotional minimalism is the practice of saying, I don't need to engage with this thought. I don't need to worry about someone's opinion. I don't need to respond just to be understood. I don't need to live in an endless cycle of what-ifs. These are just puppeteer strings. And when you stop dancing to them, you begin to live freely. Ask yourself, what mental trap is draining my peace today? Why am I still holding on to it? Is it the fear of rejection? The need for control? The desire for certainty? When you stop trying to control everything, clarity begins to flow. You start to respond, not react. You begin to observe, not absorb. Remember, you weren't born to please others. You weren't born to be perfect. You were born to awaken, to free yourself from the invisible expectations that steal your joy. You don't have to change the world to be free. You just have to let go of the strings. And here's the paradox. When you stop trying to control everything, you gain control over yourself. That's when happiness no longer feels conditional. That's when peace isn't a reward. It's a resting place. Cut the strings. Let your mind find stillness. You are not a puppet. You are the master who forgot. 3. What happens when you stop caring? You hold on so tightly, clutching approval, expectations, and outcomes, as if your happiness hinges on controlling every aspect of life. But have you ever noticed how tightly clenched fists can't receive anything? Not peace, not love, not freedom. Buddhist wisdom teaches that true freedom comes from letting go, and freedom is the only real condition for happiness. It's a paradoxical truth. How can letting go lead to more peace? But perhaps peace isn't something you chase after or earn. Maybe it's something you uncover once you stop forcing everything into place. Think about it. Every time you try to fix others, rescue every situation, or control how people perceive you, you drain yourself. Not because you're weak, but because you're carrying what isn't yours to carry. You weren't meant to bear the weight of the entire world. Some things are meant to pass through your life, not become lodged in your nervous system. If you want inner peace, stop obsessing over things you can't control. Let go of the idea that everyone has to like you, that your plans must unfold flawlessly, or that people must fully understand your heart. Peace isn't found in fixing others. It's found in releasing the need to fix them. Picture this. Your mind is like a hand clenched into a tight fist. Now, slowly open it. That's what letting go feels like. It's not about giving up. It's about creating space. Space for clarity, breath, and stillness. When you stop caring about the external noise, you start to hear your inner voice again. And what it whispers is this: you were never meant to live in constant tension. Practice this daily. Start small. Don't reach for your phone the moment you wake up. Don't respond to that message designed only to stir drama. Don't waste your energy trying to explain yourself to someone set on misunderstanding you. Simply let go. Prioritize your peace. The world won't collapse because you didn't react, but your internal chaos will begin to subside. So ask yourself, what is it that you're holding on to too tightly? Is it an outcome you're obsessed with? A person who's draining you? Or a story about who you think you should be? And now, what would happen if, just for today, you let go? What if your worth wasn't tied to effort? What if your value didn't depend on approval, performance, or hustle? Buddhism teaches that suffering doesn't stem from what we lose, but from our attachment to it. The more we cling, the more we suffer. But the moment you loosen your grip, even just a little, you begin to float. You begin to trust life, and that trust is what brings you back to yourself. The less you care about what drains you, the more energy you have for what lifts you. You weren't meant to react to every trigger, respond to every voice, or fix every broken thing. Sometimes, healing isn't about fixing, it's about freeing. The moment you let go, peace walks in. Stop gripping. Start living. Happiness isn't something you chase after. It's something you allow. 4. The mindset shift that changes everything. You are not your thoughts. You are the awareness that observes them. Yet most of us live as though we are the storm, spinning, crashing, and overwhelmed, when in reality, we are the sky, always calm, always present. Buddhist wisdom offers a profound shift. Don't believe every thought you have. Thoughts are simply visitors passing through. But what happens when you forget this truth? You become a prisoner of your own mind. You react, overthink, spiral into fear, shame, and anxiety, and start believing every thought is a fact. In that moment, peace slips away. Now, imagine this. A dark cloud forms in the sky, heavy and threatening. But the sky doesn't fight it. It simply allows it to come and go. That's the mindset that can change everything. You don't need to stop the storm. You need to stop identifying with it. Instead of thinking, I am anxious, recognize that anxiety is just visiting. Instead of saying, I am not enough, observe the thought without attaching to it. This shift is the foundation of mindfulness. Meditation isn't about battling your thoughts. It's about observing them clearly and letting them pass without letting them take root. Every time your mind spins stories like, they don't respect me, I'll never succeed, or what if I fail? Your only job is to not pick them up. Simply notice, label, and release. Tell yourself, this is just my mind doing its thing. Overthinking loses its power when you stop feeding it your attention. Most of what you fear will never happen. Most of the things you rehearse in your mind are just noise. So why do you carry every thought like it's a burden you must solve? What if your thoughts had no power unless you decided to believe them? Would you still carry them around? Here's the truth. Thoughts will come, emotions will rise, but they don't define you. You are the observer, the silent witness. The more you return to this role, the less chaos you absorb. Peace doesn't come when life is calm. Peace comes when you are calm, no matter what life throws at you. The next time you feel overwhelmed, pause and breathe. Watch your thoughts like clouds drifting across the sky. You don't need to chase them, judge them, or hold on to them. Just let them pass. With practice, you'll realize that the sky never fights the storm. It simply lets it move through. If you want clarity, create space. If you want peace, stop trying to fix every thought and let it float. That's the power of detachment. Not caring less in a cold way, but caring wisely, caring only about what truly matters. Over time, this shift will become your strength. You'll stop drowning in the waves because you'll remember, you were never the ocean. You were always the sky. You don't have to silence the storm. You only need to remember that you are not the storm. You are the sky watching it pass. 5. Do less, but better. You're not tired because you've done too much. You're tired because so much of what you're doing doesn't matter. Your energy is scattered across endless tasks, draining conversations and responsibilities that don't nourish your soul. Buddhism doesn't glorify the hustle, it values presence. The Buddha once said, "Better than 1,000 hollow words is one word that brings peace." The same applies to how we live. A single intentional action can have more power than 1,000 scattered efforts. Picture your mind as a bow. Every thought, every task, every obligation pulls the string tighter. But if you're shooting arrows in all directions, none of them will hit the target. Clarity doesn't come from doing more. It comes from doing less, but doing it better. When you stop multitasking your life, you start living it. Distraction is not just the enemy of productivity, it's the thief of meaning. You can't give your full presence to one moment if you're worrying about 5 others. And when your attention is divided, your peace is too. So here's your challenge. What are the essential 3? What are the 3 things that truly matter today? Emotionally, spiritually, practically? Not 10, not 20, just 3. Let go of the rest. Not everything deserves your energy. Not every task deserves your focus. Some things are just noise masquerading as importance. And every time you say yes to them, you're saying no to your peace. You might think success comes from how much you can do, but true mastery lies in doing less with more awareness. It's not about conquering the day, it's about showing up fully for what matters in it. Imagine waking up tomorrow and focusing only on what nourishes your peace, growth, and soul. Let everything else fade away. That email that can wait, let it. That meeting you don't need to attend, skip it. That person whose drama drains your energy, step back. The power of doing less isn't laziness, it's discipline. The discipline to choose what's worthy of your time and energy. When you do this, something miraculous happens. The fog begins to lift. Your mind quiets. Your purpose sharpens. You stop spinning in circles and begin walking a clear path. Ask yourself, what task today can I eliminate or simplify to reclaim my energy? What if success wasn't about being busy, but about being aligned? What if true progress wasn't about finishing more, but feeling whole while doing less? You weren't made to chase everything. You were made to live with clarity, like an arrow aimed with precision, presence, and purpose. Do less, but do it better, because a focused life isn't a smaller life, it's a deeper one. 6. Let go of the inner drama. There's a storm in your mind, and most days, you think the only way out is to fight it. You analyze, replay, rehearse, try to fix everything and everyone. But what if the real solution isn't in doing more, but in stepping back? Peace, as the Buddha taught, comes from within. Do not seek it without. Yet we often find ourselves wrestling with the waves rather than watching them crash. The drama we experience isn't always a result of life itself. It's the story we create around it. Most of our suffering doesn't come from reality. It comes from what we think about reality. For example, imagine this. Someone sends a brief reply. Instantly you think, they must be angry with me. Your heart races, your mood shifts. But was there truly a problem? Or did you simply craft a narrative in your mind, casting yourself as the villain, the victim, or the rescuer? Our thoughts are skilled storytellers, and without mindfulness, we believe every twist they offer. But there's another way, one that Buddhism presents with remarkable clarity. Become the silent observer. Let your thoughts come and go like waves on the shore. Don't chase them. Don't fight them. Just watch. You don't need to respond to every thought. You don't need to solve every emotion. Instead, practice this. Find stillness in the midst of inner chaos. Ask yourself, is this real, or is it just a story I'm telling myself? That question alone creates space between you and the drama. And in that space, peace can arise. You stop feeding the fire with your attention, and you stop adding fuel to the storm. When you stop feeding your thoughts, they lose their grip on you. The next time something upsets you, don't react, don't spiral, just pause. Observe what your mind tries to do. You'll notice it rushes to blame, predict, or panic. Let it, but just watch. You are not the storm, you are the space in which the storm occurs. The more you practice creating this inner distance, the more you realize the drama was never about the world. It was about your attachment to how the world should be. Peace isn't a reward for fixing life. It's the result of no longer needing life to be perfect. Peace happens when you stop grabbing every thought and begin observing. When you stop turning discomfort into identity. When you stop rehearsing imaginary arguments that never happen in real life. What if today you made it your practice to release just one mental story? The loudest one, the one causing the most noise? Let it play, but don't participate. Don't narrate it. Let it fade away. Sometimes, the most powerful thing you can do is not react. The storm inside you will pass, but only if you stop standing in the rain. 7. Stay open. When pain arrives, the instinct is to close off, to fold inward, to protect and brace yourself. But here's the paradox. Healing doesn't come from shutting down. It comes from staying open. Think of the heart as a flower. It doesn't bloom by avoiding the rain, but through it. In Buddhism, there's a simple truth that's difficult to embody. You only lose what you cling to. And clinging often looks like closing off, holding back, or pretending you're unaffected. But pain is not the enemy. Resistance is. Think back to the last time you were hurt. Emotionally, spiritually. Did you withdraw? Did you shut the world out in order to survive? It's natural, but this is often where suffering begins. In the closing. What if true strength isn't about putting on armor, but about staying emotionally vulnerable even when it hurts? This doesn't mean being passive or letting people mistreat you. It means softening in the very place life has taught you to flinch, remaining open even when every part of you wants to shut down. When you feel the tightening in your chest, pause. Don't run, don't numb it. Just observe. Where am I closing right now? Is it fear, anger, avoidance? What am I protecting? Then breathe. Breathe into that space and let it unfold. It's not a weakness to feel. It's wisdom. It's not foolish to trust again. It's liberating. Staying open doesn't mean inviting more pain. It means not letting pain trap you. We often think shutting down keeps us safe, but it doesn't. It only locks us in stories, assumptions, and repeating patterns. True safety comes from being present, and presence requires openness. When you keep your heart open, you're not inviting more pain. You're allowing space for it to pass through without getting stuck. You stop internalizing every wound. You stop turning discomfort into identity. You begin to flow instead of freeze. This practice is subtle, but life-altering. When you feel offended, soften. When someone doesn't meet your expectations, stay open. When life disappoints you, breathe. That's where your power lies. Not in controlling what happens, but in choosing not to shut down because of it. That's true emotional resilience. Let yourself feel what you feel without becoming it, without collapsing under it. Every time you stay open, even a little, you teach your nervous system to handle life without fear. You tell yourself, I am safe enough to stay soft. That's not weakness. That's invincibility. Not against the world, but against your own resistance. So, ask yourself now, where am I closed? What part of me am I guarding too tightly? And what would happen if, just for a moment, I allowed it to open? A heart that stays open can never be broken. It only expands. Bonus lesson: turn resistance into acceptance. Life is like an ever-changing sea, constantly shifting, unpredictable, and sometimes overwhelming. Often we find ourselves trying to fight the current, struggling to control things that are beyond our reach. But what if I told you that this resistance only pulls you deeper into frustration and stress? What if, instead of fighting the current, you simply allowed it to carry you? In Buddhism, this is called acceptance. When you stop resisting the flow of life, you stop drowning in your struggles. Instead, you float. And the river gently carries you to where you need to be. Whatever has the nature to arise has the nature to cease. The challenges you're facing today, they will pass. But only if you stop fighting against them. We live in a world that constantly tells us to control, fix, and overcome. But what if life isn't a puzzle to be solved? What if it's more like a wave to be surfed? Every time you push against life's natural flow, you create friction. And that friction is what causes suffering. When you accept things as they are, rather than how you think they should be, you tap into a deeper sense of peace. This doesn't mean giving up or becoming passive. It means starting from a place of inner calm, not panic. It's the difference between fighting a storm and simply allowing it to pass. When you accept the present moment, messy or chaotic as it may be, you stop carrying unnecessary burdens. Think about what you're resisting in your life right now. Maybe it's a relationship that's not going as planned, a career path that feels uncertain, or a personal goal that seems out of reach. Every no you throw at the present moment, every "this shouldn't be happening," is just a weight you add to your shoulders. But what if, just for a moment, you let go of that resistance? What would happen if you allowed yourself to accept what is, without judgment, without trying to change it? This shift in perspective is profound. Acceptance doesn't mean you stop working towards your goals or improving your life. It simply means that you stop fighting against what's happening right now. When you release the inner no, you make space for something new. You allow yourself to flow through life with greater ease, rather than swimming upstream against the current. The key is to find peace in the present moment, no matter how challenging it may seem. When you do this, you free yourself from unnecessary stress and open yourself up to the flow of life. So take a moment today to notice what you're resisting. Where are you holding on tightly? To a situation, a feeling, or a circumstance that you wish were different? Now ask yourself, what would it feel like to accept it, just for a moment? What if, in accepting it, you could find peace? The more you practice turning resistance into acceptance, the more you'll experience the freedom that comes from aligning with life's natural flow. Most of us unknowingly find ourselves trapped in mental cages, reacting impulsively, overthinking, trying to please others, and draining ourselves while chasing things that don't truly nourish our soul. But there is another way, a quieter path, a path that doesn't demand attention but gently whispers peace. This path begins the moment you stop trying to control everything around you and start mastering the one thing you can control, yourself. When you stop caring about what doesn't truly matter, you stop merely surviving and begin truly living. You show up differently, you listen more deeply, you breathe with ease. And strangely, the world begins to lose its hold on you. The anxiety fades. The need to prove yourself disappears. You no longer follow someone else's rhythm. You start dancing to your own. Zen philosophy teaches us, when you let go of what you are, you become what you might be. Taking control of your life doesn't mean forcing it. It means flowing with it. You don't need to fix the world. You need to change the way you see it. That's where real change begins. Not through force, but through awareness. Take a breath. Look within. Then reclaim your power, not by tightening your grip, but by loosening your attachment to outcomes. You don't have to carry everything with you. You only need to carry what truly matters and let go of the rest. This is the quiet revolution of self-mastery. At the core of your being, you already have the answers. You know who you are. You know what you need. The noise will fade away. The truth will remain. If this video inspired you, don't forget to like and share it with someone who might need it. Leave your thoughts in the comments. Which rule resonated with you the most today? Subscribe to Deepest Wisdom for more life-changing Buddhist insights on living a peaceful, powerful life.